All right, welcome to Grungbob's Fortnightly podcast. This is chapter 2, and we have Joel Sakkari with us as guest. Let me introduce him to you guys. By the way, Joel is a multi-instrumentalist. He's a self-made musician and music producer. He is the founder of the production house The Sakkari with over 20k followers on YouTube, 20k subscribers on YouTube. Joel also plays the guitar and produces music for Vasu Dixit, who is a household name when it comes to music in the southern part of India. Apart from that, he also helms a synth project called Droolfox and also has his own online presence as a musician with multiple singles out with self-produced music videos and the audio taken care of by himself as well at his own studio. So he's been around in the industry for about 10 years, I believe that's right, or more than that.
10, I think.
About 10 years, a decade. He's completely self-made, and we here want to learn from his experiences today. So I've curated a lot of questions for you, Joel. So hopefully that's going to help our listeners and me personally. So here we go. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good man.
Yeah?
It has been a long day.
It has been a long day.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So the first question for you is, when did you discover your interest in music?
I think when I was in class 7, I think I was...
Sorry about that.
I think I was 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
When I thought of learning a musical instrument, because now I grew up in a Christian family where music is a very integral part of the whole Christian society.
All right.
There is live music in the church. There are people playing guitar. People who... I mean, in the Christian community, guitar and piano are very common musical instruments. So that's how I picked it up. And when I was, I think, 10 or 11, I enrolled myself to a piano class. And I think that's where it started my music learning.
Okay. It's very interestingly you say you enrolled yourself. So your parents never asked you to get into music.
Yeah, I mean,
interested by
there are no musicians in my family.
Uh-huh.
So I figured out there is a music class nearby.
Okay.
So I just went and inquired and enrolled myself. Yeah.
And that's where it all began.
Yeah.
Cool. So who were your early inspirations as artists, and how did they transform over time? What were the bands you were listening to when you started out versus now?
Oh yeah, this one is a difficult question because I've been listening to a wide variety of music right from the time I actually got a ear for music. First, in my initial days, it was mostly the church Christian music, which then went on to some 80s like rock. There were these iconic bands. One of the band was called Petra. Petra was it was kind of a Led Zeppelin type of a band, but it was a Christian rock band.
Okay.
Safe to listen types.
All right. At the time.
Because at the time, rock was a devil's music and all that nonsense. So basically, yeah, Petra was a very nice band. So I used to listen to them, and then eventually I got introduced to Metallica.
Right.
I was really blown away by. It was some sort of sinister joy.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to listen, but then it is so good, right?
Yeah.
And then I eventually got, introduced to alt rock, and when you're in school, you listen to Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit.
Of course, yeah.
Basically, guitar-based stuff, which was then in the mainstream among the school kids.
Makes sense. So that's about music. Like when you got, acquainted to the guitar, the piano. But what about music production? Were there any small antics, or were there any things that you did when you were young, which were about recording music, or somehow related to recording? Basically?
Yeah, I started, showing interest into recording music just after a year of learning the piano. I think I was around 12, 13.
Okay.
That's when I discovered there is a tape recorder in which you can record. And then after a few months, I figured that it has left and right channels which can be used to record two different instruments
Right.
and at different timelines, like
Right.
you can overdub. So I actually discovered that, and that was like my aha moment, right?
Right.
Eureka moment.
Yeah.
And then there I tried recording. Like I had a very primitive type of a condenser microphone, which was really small, which was taken out from another tape recorder.
Right.
I mean, so I had this little interest towards solid state electronics because I was a hobbyist then.
Okay.
So I knew how to disconnect stuff and connect. It was pretty straightforward. So
Okay.
that's where the curiosity started, and later down the line, it moved on to computers.
Right.
Yeah, so there was a home computer, and then I discovered this software called Cool Edit Pro,
Cool
where
Edit Pro.
you could record unlimited tracks.
Right.
And yeah, so I think that's where the curiosity started to learn more and more about this particular
Yeah.
field.
I think it was Audacity for me, the
Oh.
first recording software that I.
Oh yeah, Audacity, all these were similar.
Yeah. That's brilliant. So you also majored in biotech engineering before you joined your sound engineering music production course in Bombay. So my question to you is, when did you make up your mind that you had to make this your main occupation and not the other one, not the biotech engineering?
I went into that because I had to do something that makes sense to my parents.
Right.
So, I mean, that time it was either engineering or medicine, and if you don't do either, then future would look bleak to the family and
Yeah, that's
all that
typically-
stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
typically the case.
it was medicine was totally out of question for me because I don't like all that gore stuff.
Yeah.
And engineering, I really suck at math.
Yeah.
So engineering was, like absolutely, it would be a nightmare. Then I figured biotech sounds cool and also doesn't have that much math.
Right.
And then I somehow got myself. I mean, I went because I had to do something, right?
Okay.
And then in the first year, I actually started developing an interest towards biotech, but it wasn't too long since that interest faded away because what? I mean, nothing. I didn't really learn much. To tell you the truth, in college, because it became too academic, exams, this, that. So
Yeah, this is typical of our education system. For the lack of a better word, you weren't meant for it, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, my curiosity and all that thing died down very fast because I had a lot of questions and there were nobody to answer me.
Right.
Yeah. So then it eventually died, and I was definitely doing music production and trying to understand. By this time, I had already moved on from piano to guitar.
Yeah.
I had my laptop and I was still discovering how to record stuff and how to do multi-track. And later, probably 2 or 3 years down the line, I decided this can be turned into a career.
Right.
At least I should give it a try.
True. And look at where we're now. So I remember you showing me a photo long ago of a clothes line
Yeah.
where you hang clothes. So you had hung that in the room, and then you had hung mics off it, and you were trying to record drums with your band.
Oh, yes.
in the college.
So, yeah, I mean, as soon as I got into college, the aim was, okay, find people, make a band. So, I think in the first week, a band was kind of formed. And, so our drummer then, his name is Matthew.
Right.
Oh, very good drummer. I mean, he was like my mule, so I could use him to record all the drum tracks. I mean, he was.
I get it. You meant mean it in a positive way, but it's just the adjective that you used.
Yes, because this was a time when I think our band was doing good.
Yeah.
We were doing.
It was called Moksha, right?
Moksha, yeah.
I'm right,
Local shows we were doing. We had few original compositions, and it was time that we push our limits and we start recording. I think somebody had asked for a demo then.
Yeah.
That's when we started recording, and then I thought, we used to we thought we have enough number of mics,
Okay.
and there was a small Ahuja mixer.
Right.
Like we just tried it, and
Yeah.
so I think that's the photo, because we didn't have stand, so I had to suspend it by.
Right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was freaky. So, in essence, what we get from here to people who are actually listening and watching this is that you need to read your instincts. You need to understand at one point that your interests can actually take shape into a proper career. So you have to read the signs at an early age. Now, these days, I think the education system is changing. Parents are also more aware.
Yeah.
And they are recognizing the talents of their children at a younger age.
Hey, there is the internet, man. The
There
kids
is the
are
internet.
recognizing themselves.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's the takeaway from that. Read the signs. You are probably meant for greater things. Cool. The next question for you is, how was your time in Bombay? And what are your thoughts on the music scene there versus city like Bangalore, where Bollywood is not the mainstream music?
Yeah, Bombay was actually sort of an eye opener. I mean, I used to do. In fact, before going to Bombay, I did 2 or 3 client projects. I had some basic equipment, but then I did not have a clear picture about how work actually happens in the industry.
Right.
So Bombay taught me that. So Bombay is filled with this hustle culture. It's basically, they tell you, like right from day one, they tell you, you can miss your recording session only if you're dead. That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
yeah.
Sounds
So
like Bombay.
then there, like the place where I studied was called Sound Ideas,
Okay.
and it was in the heart of Bollywood. Like a lot of celebrities used to come and record their stuff. DTS Dolby mixes used to happen in that place. It was a huge studio.
Okay.
So there I actually learned, like, how many takes does it take for professionals to get it right? What comes after what? How do they set up a session? How because time is money in Bombay. So how to do things faster and how to do things more efficiently in terms of the software and in terms of overall workflow is what I learned
Right.
in Bombay.
So the work ethic, basically.
Work, I wouldn't say work ethic because they don't really have good work ethic. I understood the workflow.
Workflow. Right.
Yeah, but I couldn't really sustain myself in Bombay too long because that the Bombay scene wasn't my thing, in my opinion.
Okay.
And Bombay is more about really fast life, and I mean, it kind of requires you to be in a certain way.
Right.
It requires you to be very fast, and I wasn't fast, and I was willing to hustle, but not at Bombay level of hustle.
Do you mean that not at the cost of compromising quality of work to
Exactly.
deadlines?
Yeah. Because I didn't really want to work under. In fact, not just
Under
that.
the sword. all the
I mean,
time.
I would like to work under somebody whom I really look up to, but that wasn't an option. So I thought it was too much for me to take, and then I drifted more towards the south and towards Bangalore.
Right.
Because Bangalore has a lot of, since I was, my music scene has always been with bands, a certain type of indie music, right? So
Yeah.
Bangalore is much open, and Bangalore is much diverse in terms of people liking playing and working on the music that I tend to like more. So
Right.
that's why it worked.
Or at least was. Bangalore at least was at the time.
Yeah, it was.
Because
I think
remember
it still is. I think
Right.
it still is.
I want to agree, but I somehow can't, because Bangalore has changed in terms of how music is being put on a platter right now.
Yeah.
It used to be the rock capital of India. People used to
Oh,
come
yes.
from like places to like just play in Bangalore, like lots of crazy bands in like back in the day.
Yeah, while I was in Bombay, I hear, okay, Maiden is playing,
Yeah.
Metallica is playing,
Yeah, exactly.
Lamb of God is coming, Opeth came
And
so
so
many
many
times.
Indian bands were budding at the
Yeah.
time. Now, with all the music ban and everything, you're just curbing the growth of music in a city. So that's something sad that happened for Bangalore.
Yeah.
And I think the indie scene has been taken up by Delhi more than ever. while
I think
Bombay
so.
remains the mainstream for Bollywood.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. My next question is pretty much you answered that, but I would still like to ask you in case you have something to add. Did you consider penetrating the Bombay or let's say Bollywood music industry at any point while you were learning or like Bollywood basically
I mean,
as a producer?
not. I could not because my musical tastes and the style of my production is very different from what is required.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were a lot of. I mean, Bombay is filled with people who have come there with very big dreams.
Yeah.
And it is cutthroat competition, and I was like, I wasn't ready for it. I was way too intimidated, and
Yeah.
I think I was probably afraid.
Yeah.
So I didn't try.
Yeah. It makes
I
sense.
didn't really try.
It was something that you weren't looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All that Bombay energy. Okay. So what are the challenges according to you that music producers faced back in the day versus now? Now I ask you this question because you've sort of seen both the eras. Now the last 5 years in music production have been very lucid in terms of song creation, etc. because there are more opportunities in the freelance world as well. While this wasn't the case just a while ago. So you've kind of seen both sides of the coin. That's why I ask you, what are the challenges according to you that music producers faced back in the day versus now?
If I have to talk about challenges, that was not really. I think the challenges that were back in the day, for me at least, were equipment were really expensive. If you wanted good quality equipment and stuff, that was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Computing power was less, so you had to. In fact, you
That's a valid one.
yeah. So it was, but I had learned a way to actually work around it.
Okay.
Because everything was about economy. How do you save DSP
Okay.
and do all of that? So it worked for me. But now I think opportunities are more. There are more opportunities for producers to publish their work without any third party.
Right.
And I think in musicians and producers, we mainly are much more independent than ever.
Yeah.
In terms of pitching their work to new clients.
Right.
Working with clients who are, who are abroad or who are not present in the same city. So that way, I think the opportunities are just endless today.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the case when I started off. That was 10 years. Yeah, literally 10 years back.
10 years ago.
It wasn't the case. So you would depend on physically meeting people, physically meeting clients through somebody, word of mouth and all of that. Now, I think it has just exploded. I think.
Yeah,
I
it,
guess.
it has blown up. Cool. So my next question to you is okay, now here music production or just being a musician is a completely non-streamlined line of work. So as one right now, what would you say are the essential steps in the process to becoming one? What advice would you have for upcoming producers and musicians of today, since it's not streamlined at all? None of this.
I mean, trends are changing, of course. The way people are listening to music, and the way people are producing music, and for what. Like, for example, TikTok has come. People are producing a lot of music production for that. But all that aside, but the core fundamentals of learning music and learning the techniques of producing music, recording, have still remained the classical way. I think one has to have a good understanding of music theory, in my opinion, and one needs to know a DAW left, right and center. Like, you always need to have one DAW that you can go to, because DAWs today are very powerful. You can actually write music in them. So you need to have these two aspects sorted. You need to first be very sound musically. Even without a software, you should be able to come up with compositional ideas. On the other hand, of course, there is this technicality stuff. You have to be good at that as well. And to add to that, I think in today's day and age, you need to be at least good at one instrument. Two is better, but yes.
That is good advice.
Yeah,
Because
that is something that remains
yeah,
a
because a lot
constant.
of electronic music producers do have this question like, do I really have to learn an instrument in order to produce music? I know you can MIDI program it, but it just helps to create, like, to mess around with the key and to just experiment and create something unique. I think it's really important to know.
Yeah,
that
but how will you get your musical ideas? Okay, fine, you
Yeah.
have these 4 chords. How long will you play the same 4 chords?
That's right.
Right.
That's
How will you push your mind to come up with ideas? So that's why a musical instrument kind of opens up your mind to try different possibilities. It
Right.
could be melodically, or it could be with harmony, or it could be with rhythm or anything.
Exactly.
So one musical instrument that you call your own has to be there, in my opinion. I think that will be your, that's where the ideas are born.
Right.
Yeah.
You can also borrow it from a friend and still call it your own.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you get the point. So when I asked you this question, I also asked in the light of a lot of people. Like I remember when I wanted to study music production, I called quite a few schools in Bangalore, and I remember speaking to the principal of one of the most reputed ones, and he was like, brother, you can just come and do this course here, but like, do not expect anything. You're on your own. I give you the certificate. You're out there. You're on your own. So what I'm trying to say here is that you covered the technical angle, but my question really is, apart from that you don't really just need to be a graduate from music production school or sound engineering school. You need to also kind of be an entrepreneur to really kick.
Yeah,
To
definitely.
make it kick in this world, right? So
I think that man gave you an honest reply. Yeah,
he
definitely.
did actually. And what are your views on that?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Yeah, in my early days, I think I had to sell my skills. So I mostly used to upload on Facebook or YouTube where people used to see, and I used to get small projects. One thing was, I never underestimated any project. So even
Right.
however small, however beginner the artist might
That
be.
is the key. That is
So I took it as a challenge, because I have to start somewhere, and I think I made the best of every little opportunity I got.
Right.
So every project was a learning curve.
Yeah.
So I think we are on our own. I mean, you have to strategize. How are you going to pitch your work? How are you going to release your work? How are you going to build your portfolio? All that. It's all self-employment.
Yeah, this is major self-employment. There's no streamlined jobs here. So yeah, that's the key. I guess the takeaway from this question, which like a lot of you will benefit from, is probably might benefit from. I don't want to be that cocky. Is that you have to be initially when you start out, you don't have to judge too much what projects are coming to you. You need to treat projects with equality and give your best to every project that you do, because you don't know what might work out.
You know the kind of projects that we have done, right? Yeah.
We've done some like crazy ass projects which
It's
we
on
never
the
really
dark
will
side
do.
of the internet.
Yeah. somewhere unfound. I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you like to say a few words about the freelance music industry that has flourished to abundance now, as we all know, in the last couple of years? And what's the scope now for budding musicians and producers? Because, see, my question here is that, okay, I can produce music, so can Rohan or my neighbor, anybody, right? Anybody can just now, like you said, now recording equipment is cheap. The market has blown up to a point where there are too many people doing the same thing, and it's a constant fear for many. So I have spoken to a lot of upcoming musicians and producers, and a lot of people just come up with this thing that there's too much competition now. There's too many people out there doing the same thing, using the same rig as you. So what's your take on that?
Of course, yes, that sort of intimidation and that sort of fear is always there.
Yeah.
But I think there is also that much amount of work.
Right.
I mean, there's the media also has, evolved into a lot of different ways where music is kind of required in many different places. And also, if you have actually invested in the right skills, skilled people are still in demand. There's 100 producers.
Yeah.
But skilled producers are still probably 10.
Right.
It was still probably there were 10 skilled producers back then,
Yeah.
but there were no 100 others.
Yeah.
Out of 20 there were 10.
Yeah.
But now there are 100 and there are still 10.
Right.
So I think skilled people are still in demand and they will always be in demand. I think without really paying attention towards how many people are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think just need to stay focused and keep, I think learning always is a constant, I feel. We
Yep.
have to keep learning.
And
Yeah, I don't think we have anything to fear if you are updating yourself.
Yeah. Also to add to that, I think that sort of competition can be taken in a healthy way to grow.
Yeah.
Also, like if there was no competition like that, you just would be complacent. Like you'll be like Anu Malik probably. Like, okay, let's just take that sample.
Oh, definitely.
Let's just fucking put it there.
Yeah,
so I
of
guess
course.
that
I mean, if
competition is
there is
good.
no competition, there is no reason to grow.
Yeah.
And everything just stays
It's a wild world, bro.
stagnant. You know, in cars and bikes, right? Technology comes from races.
Yeah, exactly.
If there were no race teams,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be so much. You know,
Yeah.
they say nobody needs an upgrade.
Yeah.
I heard it somewhere. Power drift mein suna.
Ah.
Nobody needs an upgrade because you upgrade because you want to.
Yeah.
Now here the competition is pushing.
Exactly.
Actually,
That's a good analogy.
pushing that. Yes.
Actually, makes sense. Cool. So, all you guys out there, if you're watching this and if you are a budding musician or producer, take it to yourself to just like, I don't know, do something unique to stand out of those thousands of producers who are probably doing as good as you technically. Well, what are your thoughts on managing time in a versatile domain such as yours? Now, you're a part of multiple projects. You've got your band. You've got your production gigs locally. You've got your other freelance gigs from across the globe, and then you're producing music for your band. You're also doing a bit of marketing for your other projects. You have your own set of songs that you are catering to, then playing for Vasu Dixit. So long story short, you have like a ton of things to manage. So how does one manage time and still remain sane and healthy?
It is definitely not easy, trust me. I mean, I am not efficient all the time, no matter how hard I try to, because this is still a creative field. It is not a production firm where you
Yeah.
get raw materials and then you produce. So I kind of hit walls every now and then. I kind of go through a lot of struggle, like managing the existing work and taking up new work, because if new work doesn't come in, the income stream stops. And then old work doesn't finish on time because of many reasons. Sometimes it's probably because I did not get good enough ideas. Sometimes there are a lot of revisions to be done.
Yeah.
And then so how I do is I mean over the years I have learned to say no to a lot of projects
Okay.
that I feel that don't that I feel that my energy and time are not worth. Right. So that way I have managed to only take up what I absolutely like doing, and I am giving most of my energy there.
Right.
So that way I am doing, and then I take breaks every now and then I ride the bicycle as well.
Joel's
So,
got a cycling channel
yeah.
also, which he doesn't brag about, but
It's a
pretty
classified
cool.
channel.
Yeah, we should
So
check it
yeah,
out.
cycling is one way that I really escape. There is no music there. It's just riding, trying to ride as fast as I can, as far as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm also planning some cycling trips. So I kind of take a break.
Procrastinate a bit.
Yeah, and then we also go on vacations. That is there, but sometimes it kind of goes out of control. Like a lot of
Yeah.
work is piled up. That is, I think, part of the stream.
Yeah.
I have not been able to work around it even now.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
but
it's an ongoing process.
yeah, it's an ongoing process. No matter how organized I try to be, try to make a schedule, try to make notes, try to make calendar, this, that. I think to come up with a good piece of music or something, it really takes its own sweet time. So with me, it is quite inconsistent. Some of the ideas are really fast, I finish.
Yeah.
And some ideas sound good today. Oh yeah.
We'll continue from right there.
Yeah.
This Guy records only 29 minutes.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So sometimes it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it just takes just one day. Sometimes some ideas sound nice today, and when I listen to them tomorrow, they don't sound nice. I would have given a deadline to somebody, but just because the ideas don't sound nice to me, I kind of take some more days to get it right. So it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
There is no logical explanation to
Right.
to how I can manage these projects
It is.
in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I mean there are types of projects. There would
Yeah.
be some where you play something that isn't great according to you, but it's exactly what the client
Yeah,
wants.
but at least now, unlike before, right? I used to take all sorts of projects before,
Right.
so where I had to actually go get out of my comfort zone, and now also I do get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I have
But in the right direction.
sound that is defined.
Yeah.
And now I only take projects that I feel the client knows what I can deliver. So
Right.
that way I feel confident to even push myself. Even when they tell me this is not nice, I kind of take it because they know I kind of know where they're coming from, as opposed to before where I would work with anybody. So that we used to get very frustrating.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So earnestly working is really important.
Yeah.
You need to be satisfied with your product before you get it out to the
Yes.
others. Okay, random question, which I didn't really plan, but it's sort of occurring to me right now. You worked with the bands, you worked with the, solo musicians, songwriters, people who want to do covers and all of that. A wide variety of clientele. Have you ever laid down the producer's curse on someone?
Oh yes.
Everywhere, if you guys know what
A
that
producer's curse is a thing. You will get the best possible sound, the best possible arrangement. If you're a band, yes. But the curse is that you will never be able to play it live.
You will
ever.
never be able to replicate it.
That is what
That
we
is
call
the
the.
producer's curse. So, how often, how, can you tell us a little bit about if you've laid?
Yeah, I
that
mean,
experience?
yes. I think so. Yeah, I mean, for our own band, we sometimes end up doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we in a production scenario, right? Like a listener is in a live scenario, right? Listener is in a different live environment. A song that hits you when it is live, if you record the exact song in the studio, it might not sound half as good.
Yeah.
So that's why we need a lot of different elements that need to be added into the song that might not be played live, but they kind of provide that experience of what a song should have when a person is listening on his or her headphones or at home.
Right.
So that's how the arrangement works, and sometimes we go over the board where this is there, put this, put that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my question was exactly like, did you get annoyed at the client and be like, now you wait? Was that the kind of thing, or were you just like too enthusiastic about the project and you just kept adding and adding?
I went on adding stuff because it was as long as it sounded nice. Sometimes we've removed stuff, but yes, playing live would definitely be impossible.
That's one of the heaviest things, dude. The producer's curse. It's
Yeah.
so funny to see. I think I've seen you do that to one of the things.
Oh, yes.
Cool. We're reaching the end of the podcast now. I have just a few questions remaining for you. The next one is that many musicians, producers, including me, look up to you in terms of your skill with the guitar, the synthesizer, and just the whole craft of production. So, at your level in this field, what would you say is your next step in terms of skill enhancement or growth in your field?
I mean, the process, it still feels the same how I started. The thing is, like I said earlier, music trends are growing very fast. Now you are required to learn, like say, now I'm still learning. I'm still in the process of learning the guitar. I'm still trying to learn a lot of new things, trying to come up with new ideas of arrangement, right? And trying to not do the same things that I used to do. See, now I learned like a few years ago, I learned something new. I played it as long as I was happy with it.
Yeah.
But then it might sound new to you, but then I am so bored of doing that.
Right.
So I usually like to update myself and upgrade myself in terms of sound and experiment.
Makes sense.
So I don't know what the next step is, but I'm just experimenting. That's what I always do.
Okay.
Out of 100 experiments that I do with sound and with arrangement, I think one is bound to work somewhere. So then I'll stick to it for a while until I get bored.
Right. So the gradual linear growth is
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Nice. Good stuff. All right. Our listeners would like to know, and I personally would too, that what's brewing in the studio at the moment? What are the new releases that we can expect from you in the near future?
Of course, we are working on Droolfox stuff.
Yeah,
There
yes.
are a lot of songs.
Hmm.
There is an EP coming up. There are few shows that we are playing live, and apart from the EP, we have a couple of more songs already ready, which we will hopefully play live, and a couple of demos that are waiting to be sung. So in terms of Droolfox, I think there's a lot coming. In terms of my own music, I think I'm making something, but I'm not sure.
Alright.
But yes, I think I am concentrating mostly on Droolfox as of now,
Right.
and playing the guitar.
All right. Cool. Would you like to play a song for us today? Anything
I don't know.
out of your projects that you are working on? Or just a jam?
Yeah, probably I'll just jam on the guitar because
Right?
I think that producer's curse applies to me as well. But I've released a song and I was never able to play it live. So what should I play? Totally
Alright.
blank, man.
Thank you for that. And my sloppy sitting in the chair. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the podcast, and I hope you guys will be tuning in for the future ones too. I am really excited to do this, and also to announce the guest of the guest for next week. But I am probably going to do that on my Instagram, or I'm not going to make a trailer for that on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's just going to suck. But yeah. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate it. Do go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you feel like you enjoy the content. Thank you, Joel, for doing this again. I really appreciate it. I guess everybody here does. Alright then.